This week in the Open Mic universe, we look back at week 1 of May, which just so happens to be draft week here in the Open Mic universe. But before we do that, we got to take a look back at a very controversial finish to a match that took place at Backlash for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. The former champion AJ Styles taking on the man who took that title from him back at WrestleMania 2, despicable Rey Mysterio. And AJ was in the driver's seat the entire way in this one. Hits a Styles clash, rolls Rey over, but the referee nowhere to be found because Raquel Rodriguez on the outside distracting the referee, and AJ would have easily got the 3 count. And as you saw there, Rey purposely getting himself counted out to retain. But after much deliberation from the officials from the WCW, it was decided that we would need to have a definitive winner between these two before the draft would begin. So we would find the WCW World Heavyweight Championship defended in our opening match here on Raw. And for the first time ever in the Open Mic universe, we had a Hell in a Cell match on a TV show. We have not had one outside of a pay-per-view. So we made a little bit of history to kick off Raw here, as Rey and AJ, there would be a winner. There's no way for, there's no champion's advantage in a Hell in a Cell match. And you got to think that kind of leads to kind of an advantage for AJ. Because like we said, AJ, back at Backlash, really kind of was in control the whole way. Here, he would hit a Styles clash on Rey, but wouldn't be enough to get the 3 count, as you'd only get a 2 there. Hell in a Cell is a little bit of a different thing. Obviously, you're confined to the cage, but if you are creative, there are ways that you can escape the cage, even though there is no count out, there is no disqualification. There's no champion's advantage when it comes to the Hell in a Cell. AJ, again, with a phenomenal forearm, would go for the cover, but again, not enough to put Rey down, but he would send Rey through the wall of the structure and then make his way to the top of the cell, and despicable Rey would follow suit. And if one thing we know about Hell in a Cell matches, nothing good happens on the top of the cell. And AJ would continue the punishment to the current WCW champion. And you know he's going to be taking out a lot of frustration after the way that the match at Backlash ended. Rey would go for a little fall off the top of the cell, eventually make his way back to the top. AJ would lock in a calf crusher on the top of the cell, even though can't win the match that way, does soften Rey up a little bit more. And here he would hit a Styles clash and send Rey Mysterio through the top of the cage down onto the mat. He would then make his way down, cover Rey Mysterio, and get the victory once again, becoming WCW World Heavyweight Champion. You know, he's going to do whatever he can to get that graffiti logo of the LWO off of his WCW World Heavyweight Championship. But AJ Styles, your new WCW World Heavyweight Champion. And then it was draft time. And as you can see on the screen, here are the rules. WCW, who earned the number 1 pick back at Survivor Series, would use that pick on the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. Pick 2 in round 1 for WWE was the Bloodline. Then in round 2, Braun Breaker going number 1 to WWE, Brock Lesnar, the second pick to WCW. Round 3, WCW would select Alexa Bliss with their first pick. Pick number 2 to WWE was Seth freaking Rollins. Round number 4, Logan Paul would be selected with the first pick to WWE. The Street Profits, pick number 2 to WCW. And we would kick off the official Logan Paul era in the WWE in a match against Kevin Owens. And if you'll remember, Logan Paul did participate previously in the Open Mic universe. Most recently at WrestleMania 2, he was a participant in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And not only was he a participant, surprisingly, he was the winner. So over the last month, we saw Logan compete on WWE programming as well as WCW programming as a free agent to kind of show off his talents to the GMs of both brands. And he would be rewarded with a fairly high pick, a 4th-round pick, not too shabby for somebody like Logan Paul. Owens with another stunner, and unfortunately for him, another near fall and not able to put Logan down. And I don't want to say that Owens underestimated Paul. I think Paul came in on a pretty big high, making his official debut in the WWE. But for him, he does get the win against Kevin Owens. Then, as we resume the draft, round number 5, pick 1 for WCW, Ilya Dragunov. Pick 2 for the WWE would be Imperium. Round number 6, the WWE, pick 1, Team Angle. Pick 2 for WCW, Ricochet. And you got to think Ricochet probably very happy to be getting away from Bobby Lashley. Then we would see our new WWE Women's Champion in action, taking on a member of Team Angle, Ivy Nile. And Shayna would make very quick work of the newest member of the women's division here in the WWE. Then round 7, pick 1, WCW would select Joe Gacy. Round 7, pick 2, Naomi for the WWE. Round number 8, pick 1, WWE would select Finn Balor. And pick 2 in round 8 for WCW, Wes Lee. Then we would see Braun Breaker not necessarily making his debut in the WWE. He started the universe in the WWE, but a return to the WWE, and he did not come alone. He's got a new manager, and it is none other than Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon now in the corner of Braun Breaker. Braun would take on the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns, who regained that WWE World Heavyweight Championship back at Backlash. He would take on, here in the main event of Raw, somebody that could potentially be a huge threat to the Tribal Chiefs championship run. And pretty impressive showing for Breaker. We saw in year 1, I said it back in our first year, if we gave out a Rookie of the Year award in the universe, it would have went to Braun Breaker. He had a phenomenal year 1. That segued into getting drafted over to WCW, where he had a very impressive year 2 over there. And again, he would be rewarded by getting drafted very high to return back to the WWE brand. But as good as he has been, you're in there with maybe the best in either roster for either brand. Here we would see Shane distracting the Tribal Chief a little bit. Could be something that could potentially help Braun down the road. Didn't help him here, as the Tribal Chief, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, would hit the spear, hook the leg, and come away with the victory here in the main event of Raw. But that wouldn't be the end of Raw, as we would have 2 final rounds here to close out the night for the first half of the draft. Round number 9, pick 1, Bianca Belair to WCW. Round 9, pick 2, Liv Morgan to the WWE. Round number 10, pick 1, Zelina Vega, selected by WWE. Round 10, pick 2, WCW, selecting Big Bronson Reed. Then, as we headed into Nitro, we would have rounds 11 through 20, the second half of the draft. Round 11, pick 1 to WCW, Oba Femi. Round 11, pick 2, WWE, selected Sami Zayn to remain over there on the WWE brand. Round 12, pick 1, Sheamus to the WWE. Round 12, pick 2, WCW, selected Santos Escobar. And then in our opening match of Nitro, we would see the WCW Tag Team Champions in action against the newest members of the Tag Team division here in the WCW, the Street Profits. multiple-time WWE Tag Team Champions. In fact, they were our inaugural WWE Tag Team Champions at the beginning of our universe. Great matchup between these two teams. Their styles really mesh well together. And again, teams that have been together for a long time, teams that have had a lot of championship success between each side. And again, really impressive performance for the Profits. They have not met the New Day in our universe up to this point, as the brands, they've been on separate brands the whole way through. But close call there for Montez. He can't believe it. But then we would see the Profits work together. And we saw a lot of double team work between both teams in this one. And here, the Profits would get the 3 count, would get the victory, and come away winners in their first match in the WCW. Then it was time to resume the draft. Round 13, pick 1. WCW would select Baron Corbin. Round 13, pick 2. WWE selecting Chelsea Green. Round 14, pick 1. DIY stays in the WWE. Round 14, pick 2. Surprised it took this long. LA Knight coming to WCW. Just recently, he was a WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Huge steal for WCW, and I'm shocked that it took that long for him to come off the board. Then we would see our WCW Women's Champion in action, kind of rolling out the welcome carpet to Bianca Belair, who would be drafted from WWE over to WCW. But it wasn't a very warm welcome for the EST, former WWE Women's Champion. And but sometimes that happens. Sometimes you go to a new school, you go to a new job. Sometimes the people that are already there, not too happy to see you there. And Rhea Ripley showed her displeasure to Bianca Belair in this one. But Belair did do a great job holding her own against the WCW Women's Champion. But in the end, Rhea Ripley just a little bit too much for Bianca. I'm sure this is not the last time we're going to see these two meet in the ring. Back to the draft, round 15, pick 1, Pretty Deadly joining WCW. Round 15, pick 2, WWE selecting Becky Lynch. Round 16, pick 1, Country Strong Style coming back to the WWE. Round 16, pick 2, WCW selecting Grayson Waller. Then we would head back out to the ring as Drew McIntyre, the WCW United States Champion, would welcome Brock Lesnar, the Beast, back to WCW. Now, Brock, a very controversial, maybe the most controversial superstar on either brand over the last year. After getting drafted over to WWE at last year's draft, he found himself on the winning end of the men's Money in the Bank ladder match to secure that briefcase. That was back in July. He would follow that up in August, getting involved in a backstage altercation with WWE officials. That altercation was of the physical variety, and Brock found himself suspended indefinitely, as well as stripped of the men's Money in the Bank briefcase. We would not see Brock for over 6 months until the beginning of March, where he started showing up randomly on not only WWE programming, but WCW programming as well, attacking anyone and everyone he could get his hands on. He would eventually get reinstated and meet the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, where Cody would defeat him. Brock now coming back to the WCW. We'll see what the Beast has in store for us. Round 17 in the draft, pick 1, WCW selecting Austin Theory. Pick 2 in round 17, Karrion Kross and Scarlett coming back to the WWE. Round 18, pick 1, Axiom and Nathan Frazier for the WWE. WCW selecting second, they picked the D'Angelo family, former WWE Tag Team Champions. Then in our main event of Nitro, we would see the once again WCW World Heavyweight Champion AJ Styles taking on the #1 pick in this year's draft and former two-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. AJ, who just 24 hours ago competed in a Hell in a Cell match to win back his WCW World Heavyweight Championship. No rest for the weary, and we know how AJ is. He's the face that runs the place. He is the guy, the foundation of WCW. So not shocked to see him in action again, taking on the guy who ultimately could be the biggest threat to his championship. You know, a guy that, for everything that AJ Styles has been to the WCW, being that foundation, Cody has been that on the other side with the WWE. He's been that guy that's been the constant presence and the solid foundation. And now he's here in WCW. He would hit a Cody Cutter, hook the leg, and get the victory here in our main event of Nitro. But it wasn't done there, as a former world champion and one of the newest draft picks to WCW, LA Knight, would get into the ring and get an up-close and personal look at AJ Styles and the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Then we would close out Nitro with our final 2 rounds of this year's draft. Round 19, pick 1, Jade Cargill to the WCW. Pick 2 in round 19, Carmelo Hayes to the WWE. And in the final round, Asuka. Pick 1 for the WWE, and the final pick going to WCW free agent Apollo Crews. That would conclude this year's draft. And here on Thunder and also SmackDown to come, we would see some more debut appearances from some of the latest draft picks from this year's draft. Opening match here of Thunder would showcase one of the newest tag teams coming over to WCW, Pretty Deadly, taking on the Viking Raiders. Pretty Deadly would show up here on Thunder under new management, as they have secured the services of Tyler Breeze as their new manager. And maybe with the addition of Breeze, maybe that's just what Pretty Deadly needs to kind of get back on track, to get back into the tag title scene, the tag title picture now here in WCW. But I'm going to tell you, the tag team scene is not any easier over here than it was over on the WWE side, as we've got great tag teams over both brands. But maybe with the addition of some guidance and some direction from Tyler Breeze, that could be what Kit Wilson and Elton Prince need to get back to the top of the tag division. They would pick up a victory here against the Viking Raiders in their debut match. Then we would see Drew McIntyre taking on Baron Corbin. We saw him roll out the welcome wagon for the Beast Brock Lesnar here on Thunder. He would do the same for bum-ass Corbin. And it wouldn't be a very good night for Corbin, as not only is he getting in there with the guy that has been on a roll here in WCW, but Drew doesn't really like new people all that well. Then we would see Alexa Bliss, one of the newest draftees to the WCW, taking on the Queen, Charlotte Flair. Charlotte, former 2-time WCW Women's Champion. Alexa, who has yet to taste championship glory in the open mic universe, hoping that maybe now that she's got a little change of scenery over here in WCW, that might be what does the trick to get a women's championship around her waist. She had her hands full here on Thunder, though, taking on Charlotte, who would look to put Alexa away with her signature figure 8. But Miss Bliss would find a way to get out. But unfortunately for her, that was just going to delay the inevitable, as Charlotte would pick up the win. Then in our main event of Thunder, the WCW television champion Shinsuke Nakamura taking on LA Knight. We did see Knight show up at the end of the Cody AJ match on Nitro, this time making his WCW in-ring debut. And this would not be a cakewalk, a walk in the park for LA Knight. He's taking on a guy that has won championships on both brands. Ended the almost year-long reign of Dragon Lee, taking the television title from him at WrestleMania 2. And again, a guy that has had success wherever he's been. Was in WWE year 1, got drafted over in year 2. And ineligible for the draft this year because of holding a championship. Would hit the Kinshasa, but that wouldn't be enough to keep LA Knight down. LA Knight kicks out at 2. Slides out the door, hits a DDT to Nakamura, getting the WCW crowd on his side, drops an elbow, goes for the cover, and comes away with the victory. I'm going to be honest, I'm really excited to see where that main event scene here in WCW goes with the addition of 2 former world champions to the WCW brand. Then we would close out the week, as we always do, on SmackDown. Opening match, one of the newest members of the WWE, thanks to the draft, Sheamus taking on Gunther. And while Sheamus may be a new draft pick, he is no stranger to the WWE brand. In fact, he was our inaugural WWE World Heavyweight Champion at the beginning of the universe. The first year, as a matter of fact, held that title on 2 occasions. Spent the last year in WCW after getting drafted over there with Ridge Holland last year. Kind of an uneventful year spent in WCW, but now he's back in the WWE without Ridge Holland. Ridge stays over on the WCW side, and we'll see if maybe this could lead to a refocusing of the Celtic Warrior as he steps back out on his own here in WWE. Picks up a big victory here against Gunther in his first match back. Then we saw Piper Niven taking on Liv Morgan. Liv, who has spent the first 2 years in our universe on the WCW side. Actually a former 2-time WCW Women's Champion, looking to see what she can do over here in WWE. We saw it last year. Becky came in after having had some success on the WCW side, came into WWE and became a 2-time WWE Women's Champion. Then we had the WWE Intercontinental Champion, the Viper, Randy Orton, taking on Finn Balor. Balor, who comes in with a pretty good resume from his time in WCW. He's a former WCW Cruiserweight Champion, former WCW Tag Team Champion. Now, where's his attention going to go? Another big question coming into this one that we have is, the Judgment Day has been split between WWE and WCW since the very start of the universe. Now that he finds himself on the same brand with Damian Priest, will those two realign and partner up here in the WWE? That question would sort of get answered at the end of this match after Orton would get the victory and defeat Finn Balor. He would get a surprise guest in the ring in the form of Damian Priest. Priest would deliver a devastating choke slam to the Viper. It's going to be kind of curious to see where this one goes. Then, in our main event, it would be Chad Gable representing Team Angle taking on Seth freaking Rollins. We talked earlier in regards to foundational pieces. AJ Styles, the foundation of WCW. Cody Rhodes, who's been, over the last year, a solid foundational piece to the WWE. Well, here's Seth freaking Rollins. Year 1 in the universe, he's in the WCW. Nothing of note really happens. Gets drafted over to WWE last year at the draft. And while he may not have had any world championship success over the past year, he has been a consistent, solid foundational piece for the WWE. And I'm looking forward to what year 3 in the open mic universe has in store for Seth freaking Rollins. He gets off on the right foot here at the start of year 3 with a victory against Chad Gable. Guys, I know this was a long one. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. And we do have a saying around here. If you enjoy the content, share it with a friend. If you hate it, share it with two people you don't like. We'll see you guys next time.